Yo people, so as of recently, I've made the best progress I've ever made in my life. This has happened 3 times in my lifting so far, and all of those times, this has been the most common thing, or these have been the most common things. So number one basically is like when you get a job and you start so well, you do everything really, really good, and then a few months down or a few years later, you start coasting. I've been there, you've been there, right? We've all been there. You start coasting and then your performance is like 50%, you sort of do your thing. So you're not really great at the job, you're not really progressing anywhere, but you're sort of showing up, all right? That's part of that. I've done this before, you guys have probably done it. In the gym, it's the same thing. Once all that novelty is worn off with the program and your diet and everything like that, what you start doing is you don't perform the same with your diet, you don't execute it as intensely or properly as you should, and same with your training as well. So that's been a common theme early in my lifting as well, before I learned a few more things. Basically what I would do is have my training program set out as it is, have my diet plan set out as it is, and then I would just start coasting, right? For no reason whatsoever. A few months later, it's just got a bit boring, you know. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm just gonna go train. Oh yeah, how often do you train? Oh yeah, 3-4 times a week. Yeah, the way I was going there 3-4 times a week versus someone else that actually had everything knuckled down and they weren't sort of coasting, going 3-4 times a week, is completely different. And that is evident in the progress that I've made. So for those times where I was behaving like that or doing that, I made little to no progress at all. Overanalyzation. When you analyze things, and sorry, if you're going to come to this channel, there's no real science, right? There's no science. I have no scientific background where I've studied these things or read research papers exactly. I'm now, as time has gone past and I'm sort of now making really, really good gains compared to before, I've realized what gets me results is science, all right? That works for me, okay? That's all I care about right now. So overanalyzation and then failing to then stick to something because of that, right? So every few other weeks, like when I started training, guys, I didn't really have that problem. I was like, I had a program, and because in my head I pictured this to be the ultimate thing. I think it was 6 days a week or 5 days a week. At the time I was like, that's it, perfect, this is going to work. And it's just because in my head, the belief in my head was, this is definitely going to work. I was able to then stick to it. Now, granted, I've made some gains. I'd made some progress there as well, and I was really, really happy. However, something there changed. It was YouTube. I'm going to blame you, not you. I'm going to blame YouTube, and then a few more other bits, I guess, websites or your friends. Instagram is a bitch as well. Like, you see all these other researchers and you think like, oh, hang on, I'm doing this. I'm gaining muscle, or I'm doing this. I'm kind of happy, but this looks like it's going to work. You switch, and before you know it, it's like a little snowball, right? That turns into an avalanche. Before you know it, you've researched everything. You've researched so many things, and now every other week you're changing little things, you're making tweaks there. It's doing the very opposite of what you want it to do, right? You research so you can get better, but what happens instead is you research, and then someone else is trying to get views and likes and their paper to sell their ebooks or whatever the agenda is. Someone else has now done it, and you think, oh, hang on, that person's really, really funny, all right? That person's got really, really good videos, or loads of people in the comments are saying, this guy is the shit. But let me just take something from him, take something from him, take something. And then what happens is before you know it, it's been a year, 2 years, and you've sort of hovered between coasting and program hopping and changing your approaches. And then if anyone asks you, how do you really gain muscle, or how do you lose fat, or what's your approach, or anything like that, you're sort of stuck like a deer in headlights. So overanalyzing and not actually getting stuff done. And then what is, once you've done this overanalyzation, and then while you're training, you're still looking at articles, what that does, it takes away from the time that you're in the gym, right? So in the gym for a selected amount of time, we all have jobs, kids, family, life, this, that, whatever, stuff to do, friends. If you want to play games as well, you want to go drive your new car, whatever your thing is, right? You want to do that. So you have limited time in the gym. You're not there for hours and hours. You don't need to be. And then you go in there, and then because of your whole anxious period of where you're sort of analyzing so much, what's going on is you're not able to do that thing then properly, right? So you go there like, oh, I'm going to do this, but your head's not screwed on in that process. You're not good at it. You're not good at what you're saying you want to do, right? So you want to do 5 sets of squats and you're religiously going to do it. But because in your head, you're sort of still battling all these other questions you have, you're still not able to execute that properly. And then that, I believe personally, links straight into coasting, as well as never getting anything done, because you're always after the next best thing and you're not living in the now. And finally, the dude that doesn't give a shit at all, right? I've not been there personally. I've made 100 other mistakes, but I'm happy I've not made this one. If you made this mistake, by the way, don't worry about it. I've made other ones. I can't judge you, right? No one else can judge anyone else. No one can judge me, hopefully. No one can judge you as well. I personally think this is horrible. There's a type of person basically that basically has this thing where they don't give a shit, right? They say they want to train, they show up here and there, their diet is whatever, and you ask them like, oh, how's it going, man? How's the training? Yeah, pretty good, man. Deep inside, they don't care, right? They just want to be associated with that, the fact that they're training, right? Oh yeah, I go to the gym. Yeah, is usually a fat dude, right? Fat dude, basically, like, yeah, I lift, man. I'm really, really strong for my size. I'm not really going for the physique look. I'm trying to get strong and this, that, whatever. And that person is also someone that is just spinning their wheels, and you see them in 3, 4 years. Oh, I thought you were talking. Yeah, man, I'm stronger. I used to deadlift 300 kilograms. I deadlift 303 now. Like, it's going well, this, that, whatever. They just want to be associated with this gym overall culture, but they don't care. They don't care about the training, really. I'm not saying you have to be the anxious nerd, because remember what I said there before. It links you straight back in to the person that overanalyzes. You don't want to be there. You want to be in the middle. You don't want to be this guy that doesn't care. So they don't care about the food either, because they're like, oh yeah, I'll just overeat here or undereat there, or whatever their approach is, trying to lose weight, gain weight. And then at the end, basically not doing anything at all, just sort of, everyone knows that dude there, he goes to the gym and that's it. There's nothing else around it. He doesn't really know what he's doing. He's not really looking into it at all or trying to do anything better. I'll link it back to the job actually. So imagine you start a job, there's one person that coasts, or there's people that excel and they promote, and there's another demographic of people that go in there and they're just rubbish, all right? They're just not really good at the job, unfortunately, and they either stay there or they leave, whatever. Now, where you want to be, okay? You need to understand, relax. There's training, bodybuilding, powerlifting, everything's been around for, I would say, centuries. There's been some sort of physical sport going on somewhere. And you look at the silver era. I made a really good video on it, actually, on this channel, if you can check it out. It's about silver era bodybuilders and what the hell. Look at what they look like without steroids. It's kind of controversial, but me personally, and alongside most people, believe that there was no steroids involved at the earlier silver era stage. Obviously, we saw it more popularized later on with the Schwarzenegger time, the golden era. Physiques obviously look better then, but not fully attainable. Some maybe, I'm not exactly sure. But if we look at silver era and the bronze era, those guys, if you read their books, by the way, they did like 3-4 sets a day, I guess. I'm not saying do less, but that's what they did. They had like a basic program. It was an abbreviated program. That's what it was called, I believe. They just knuckle down, get the work in, and eat properly, and then that's it. That's all they would do. Now, I know what you're saying. Oh yeah, but those guys are genetically gifted. How many of those guys, man? There were so many people that used to train in that way, and they made gains. Even now, there's natural lifters out there that are making so much progress as well. Alex, I can't say his surname. Alpha Destiny, him. Faz Lifts, OG, him. Basement Bodybuilding, Jeffrey Schofield. Schofield, I don't know. There's so many people that are that I can say that are on YouTube alone that we see that may not have had the best start, especially, but now obviously applying these things have done really, really well. So what I'm trying to say is you want to be somewhere in the middle where you gather the information you need, you try it in the gym. If it works, you stick to it. When it stops working, you look into it again and see why it's not working or what's not working. And then you streamline that approach, figure out what's working. So yeah, basically what I'm saying is, find a bit of research, know what to do, because obviously you're not going to sort of raw dog it and go out and then just start lifting weights. You want to know something. Get it. I get it. 100%. That's me right now, right? I'm trying to get information. But once you have an approach and you see your results, muscle can only be gained at a certain rate. So if you're eating properly and the weights are going up in the gym, your scale weight's dropping, what more do you want? I mean, you can accelerate your weight loss. Go ahead, research a bit more if you want to for more satiating foods with bigger volumes or whatever your approach is. Go ahead, that's fine. But like at some point, you just have to stick to it and ride it out. Most people, I would personally say, would probably see a lot of progress in the first few years of doing stuff right. And then if they just stop faffing around, I mean, do you know what? I'm talking to you guys, but at the same time, I'm talking to myself. If you can follow the vlog journey as well, I'm doing those videos too. Like, the progress I'm making now is only 3, I said at the beginning of the video, there's only been 3 times in my life where I've done that. Beginning, where I started when I was fresh, brand new, I had no clue of what I was doing. But in my head, I thought it was the right thing to do. That's when I made the most progress. Once when I worked with Faz, because he made me believe, like, you are the next, I don't know, I just felt like I was something out of some Avengers movie, right? He made me believe I could do anything, and I actually felt like that. And I was doing great. For someone that was, I guess, super novice, I had no real clue. I was making great progress. And then seemingly shortly after, when all these doubts crept in, what happened was my lifting or my stats and everything got worse over time. Now, why is that? The common thing I put it down to was the fact that my head wasn't screwed on properly. And then the third time is now, where my progress has been so good. I've surpassed my previous numbers as well, just because I've switched off the internet. Not switched off the internet. I'm not really... I watch all these guys, all right? I watch Greg Doucette, Mike Israetel, everyone for entertainment now. I know what I'm doing. I know how much, so I'm not really looking anymore as like how much volume. I've made videos in the past. I've deleted some as well, for God's sake. I've made videos in the past where I've said, oh, this is how many sets you need exactly. That's the range or whatever. Now I personally think you go in there, pick one of these programs, like based on what you are. What's it called? Novice, intermediate, whatever you feel you are. Start lower. I would say start novice, even if you think you're advanced or whatever. Do you know what I mean? We don't know. Start novice. If you're making progress, you're a novice, right? Done. Chapter closed, close the book, get to work. Now, hammer that as much as you can. Once you realize, oh shit, man, like a bit here, joint pains or whatever, I'm not getting any stronger, I've eaten more, I'm getting fat now, I'm still not gaining any muscle. Unlikely, by the way. I believe amateur novice programs are probably more than, I would say they're enough to get into a good shape. Then you go back to the drawing board and say, okay, let me look at this. Google some things or get in touch with some people, hire a coach, whatever your thing is. Do that, get information for the next stage. Starts working, close the book again. Get to work, and then by the time you're late intermediate, advanced, you probably don't even need all these sources really. Then at that point, you know what you're doing, essentially. If you enjoy this and want more like this, please consider subscribing, liking, commenting as well. Helps a lot. And if you can, also check out some of the other videos I've made. I'm recently doing a journey where I'm cutting right now, basically. Right, it's me. I'm going to do a transformation, and I'm trying to get some physique videos in there. So it'd be quite cool to have you guys on there to see me being from. I'm currently holding a bit more fat than I want to. Cut down, and then we bulk together as well. It'd be nice to have you guys on there. Thank you so much for checking this out. Peace out.